Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Lifting Your Spirits. This week I'm joined by a good friend of mine, Dave Maule, and we get talking about some interesting stuff, what it's like to be a bass player in a punk band, what it's like to do factory work back in Scotland, tedious days in lockdown with illustration, and I make him a rum cocktail called the El Presidente, which I hope you can make along with us. I'm going to do a quick version of the cocktail and then stick around after the interview where I'm going to do a deep dive for all you cocktail enthusiasts. If you are listening to this on YouTube, Spotify or Podbean, look out for a wee link in your peripherals to buymeacoffee.com. There is a little one-stop shop for all the wee things that I do, different podcasts, sketches, other recipes for cocktails. And if you feel like it, you can buy me a coffee for €3. You can buy me several coffees. Or you don't have to buy me any coffees at all. Just go there, have a scroll around and check things out. I'm looking forward to you listening to this podcast. We get quite deep at points. Enjoy.
Man, that's deep, man, that's sarcastic, man, that's pretentious, no need to be drastic, just get a fucking grip, how long's this lasted?
Welcome to another episode of Lifting Your Spirits, where I'm going to show you how to make a cocktail and then take that cocktail to my guest who's waiting in the west wing of the house. This time I want to show you just a shortened version of this cocktail. We're going to make it quickly and then I can give it to my guest and we can start the interview. For those cocktail enthusiasts among you, after the interview, I'm going to do a deep dive in the cocktail that I'm going to do, the El Presidente. I'm going to do a bit about the history of it. What is the alcohol that I'm using? Why am I using it? And if I'm swapping something out for something else, why am I doing that? That's for the geeky people among us. For now, I'm going to quickly do the cocktail and give it to our guest and start the show. So this drink's going to be shaken. So we're going to take our Havana, and we need 60 mils of our Havana white rum. And then we're going to come behind that with our vermouth, 20 mils of this. And we go behind that with our Benedictina, and we need 20 mils of this. This is also a kind of nice, transparent rosé colour, which complements the rosé vermouth. 10 mils of our ginger liqueur. That's going to complement the spiciness of the Benedictina. We get our glass and we shake nice and hard. And you see this, it's almost like a rosé, transparent colour that I just really like it. So that is the El Presidente, and I'm going to give this. Let's take this to my guest, who's waiting in the West Wings. Alrighty, so this gentleman is a very good friend of mine. Also from Scotland. I've known him for a very, very long time. He's an illustrator, an artist, and an amazing punk band musician guy. Hello, Dave Maule. There you go, pal.
Cheers.
Good to see you too, man. Congratulations on your El Presidente.
Delicious. Strong.
Yeah. Strong. I thought it might be, I actually just came up with this cocktail. Well, it's a classic cocktail, but I decided to do the cocktail today based on its name, El Presidente.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
this will
don't know if I want to drink it anymore.
yeah. Well, this will be going out in a couple of weeks, I'm sure. But you know, today's the day that the people stormed Capitol Hill.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Maybe by the time this goes out in say 3 weeks' time, it could be all over.
Hopefully.
This could be
Not like America all over, but hopefully that aspect of it.
okay. I was more thinking globally all over. I was thinking that maybe our podcast might just be beamed into the universe for another dimension to pick up on.
Post-apocalyptic entertainment.
Something like this.
The
Yeah,
last surviving piece of media.
Just us flying through space in some sort of kind of intergalactic radio signal, hoping to be picked up.
Immortal.
Just flying through the space on some solar sails. I quite like that. Us two in that place.
Sounds lovely.
It does. Sounds very romantic. Caught myself off guard there.
Yeah.
I think I was tasting too much of the El Presidente before.
Yeah. I've had one sip and I can feel it.
Yeah. Be careful.
Coursing through my veins.
Be careful with that one.
I'll be rambling by the end of it, or
well, that's the point.
no.
That's the point, man.
What's new?
So I kind of just do me a wee favour, man. Give us a wee. How would you introduce yourself to the hundreds and thousands of people that are subscribed to my YouTube channel? What would you say? I mean, I'd say you're an illustrator. You're a musician. You're Scottish. Your name's Dave.
That's pretty accurate. Yeah.
Am I getting somewhere?
Those are definitely aspects of my character.
I feel like I'm on catchphrase and you're Roy Walker.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I guess.
Because it's for them, not us, you know.
Yeah. Well, I moved to Berlin about 7.5 years ago, coming from sunny Aberdeen in Scotland. I had a proper job. I'd had several proper jobs over my time.
Right. What do you consider a proper job?
One that you have to go to in order to earn money, and
like with that kind of paycheck at the end of the month.
Yeah, minimum 40 hours kind of a week.
Okay.
Doing something that feels completely pointless.
Yeah.
You know, ebbing away at your soul.
Aye. Okay. Cool. It sounds like a dream job to me, to be fair.
Yeah.
It's sometimes
the grass is always greener.
Well, I know I'm sometimes in a I feel like I'm interjecting here, but I guess that's what it's all about, this thing. I feel currently because you know, I'm a creative person, I'm a stand-up comedian full time, and I've been that way since like March 2019, and obviously 2020 did not help in the slightest, and I love that I can say that in past tense now.
Yeah.
But there was moments where I was kind of swithering between, am I doing things right in life? Am I doing things the way they're supposed to be getting done in terms of my own kind of, you know, love affair with everything that I want to do?
Yeah.
And in simple terms, kind of going to myself, shit, man, maybe I just stop all this and just get this secure job. At this like end of the month, I've got money in the bank, the health insurance is paid, I can put some money aside, get the security. And I think that's one thing that kind of threw me off guard, is this word security.
Yeah, security is obviously nice, but I think in a lot of that you're kind of equating money to happiness.
I think
or success.
Or security. Like, I don't think the happiness and the success, that's totally that I'm doing what I want to do because it does make me happy, right? It's just not secure. And then I was really starting to having like a think about it. I was like, I'm the one with my own security in my hands, albeit that right now I'm insecure, right? But what's the alternative? To have my security in the hands of someone else? Fuck that.
Yeah.
And I think that's where, as creative people, because you are definitely a creative person as well, where we kind of like rebel against that notion a little bit, and we go, I don't know if I want to I think sometimes I'm a little bit of a hippie or a kind of rebel in that respect at heart, where I go, I'm not going to work for someone who has control on whether I can sustain that security or not. Does that make sense?
Yeah. The thing is,
We've opened up strong here, by the way, Dave. We've opened up strong.
There are a lot of, I mean, there's nothing wrong with people can be happy from having a secure job. If you find joy and pleasure in accounting,
Sure.
or and you're fulfilled working for someone doing that, then fucking fill your boots, go for it.
Absolutely.
I'm just not capable of finding any joy in anything like that.
Yeah.
I don't like being told what to do ever.
Totally.
Ever.
Me neither.
I
think there's always
even being taught how to do things I love doing, I'm unable to receive teaching.
I'm unable to receive teaching.
I am.
I love that.
I've been to university 3 times, which is also the number of lectures that I've been to.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Who
needs that shit? I'm kind of of a similar persuasion. Whenever someone says to me, "You have to do this," or like they say it in German quite a lot, or like "Man muss this man," so you must do this. Immediately, it's the rebel within me. I don't have to do anything, man.
Yeah.
Like I don't have to do shit. Like I'm doing this because I want to. Just tell me where to go. And it's just one of those verbs that the Germans use, where like to get, you're going through a process, and to get to the end of the process, you have to do particular things. I always kind of just like to remind them, ich muss gar nichts machen. Like I don't have to do anything. I'm doing this because I want to, and they kind of just give you that look like, yeah, but you still have to do it to get to the next stage of this process.
I mean,
which makes you feel like a bit of a tit, because
there was a great survey of just people who work in Britain, like a pretty big survey of people who work in Britain, and 60% of them who are working full time in various fields, office jobs, catering in different industries, and 60% of them thought that their job didn't have any point.
Yeah. Like zero impact on the welfare of their own well-being or the world itself.
Yeah, or even the company that they're in, really.
Fuck that.
It's crushes your fucking spirit. Like,
but
I did a lot of warehouse work.
So because this is what brought on this interjection. What were these proper jobs that you were doing that sickened you so much?
I was a forklift driver now. After all my bitching,
that sounds pretty cool.
I fucking love driving a forklift.
I love that. He's a forklift license.
Fucking right, man. I'm 36. I've never learned to drive a car, but I was driving a 5-ton forklift around the place. Like.
So it's got the steering wheel with the wee knob, and you're kind of giving it this fucking round.
Fucking
rear wheel drive.
Seriously satisfying.
Yeah, man.
The power. The precision of it. The rear wheel drive, you can fit it into a space, 1 inch larger than it.
Right, okay.
This big fucking 5-ton motherfucking beast. So satisfying. What I was doing was moving boxes of paper that may possibly potentially be needed for maybe something someday from one end of a warehouse to the other end of a warehouse, and stacking them in piles.
That's got pointless written all over it.
Aye, and people who were storing the boxes didn't even know what was in them. They just knew that they needed to store them. Probably.
Yeah.
Right?
Probably.
And, you might believe in reincarnation or an afterlife or something. I don't, right? You've got one fucking crack, and you're spending your good portion of your life. Now, it's not just the time you're at work, the travelling to and from, thinking about it, how fucked and knackered you are after doing it. It's hard and physical work.
Yeah. Most jobs are.
It's sucking out all of your life. And to be 65, retire, but your pension got lost by some rich cunts.
Yeah, man.
And then just grind it out until you fucking kick it.
Well,
like,
this is why
no
like
thanks.
I don't really want to put, you know, this like my own security in the hands of someone else. I've started to build something, set the foundations that it's all up to me, which comes with it its own trials and tribulations, because then you can easily blame yourself for a lot of shit. If things aren't really working out, which I think is what made me get into this mindset in the first place. By the way, just for the record, I don't want that secure and stable job or that proper job or whatever,
I
right?
think they did no.
It's just something that kind of does flash through your head sometimes.
Safety net.
Yeah, because, you know, when something like Corona hits and I can't perform and I can't work in bars, the only two things I really want to do, and do the bigger gigs and the catering gigs and all that kind of stuff. When you're sitting in your ass for a year, trust me, although, you know, I keep myself busy by doing podcasts and writing and all that kind of blah, blah, blah stuff that only interests me really, there's still that element, that doubt that sets in. You go, shit man, maybe I should just go earn like 1,500 quid a month and just have that going into my bank account.
Yeah, I absolutely get that as well. Less so when I first moved here. So I did warehouse jobs and stuff, but then before I came here, I was operations administrator for an oil service company.
Right.
So I was a boss of a warehouse.
Okay.
Instead of a
Yeah.
box carrying person in a warehouse.
Right. Okay.
And that I was like, got the job, and I was like, fuck, right, okay, maybe I'm actually gonna start feeling slightly fulfilled by this, or maybe the more money that I earn is gonna fill that gap.
Yeah.
And it didn't. It was worse.
Aye.
I wanted to go and work with the boys in the warehouse.
Aye.
Listen to fucking North Sound 2 and sing along to Van Morrison's.
Yeah, man. Okay.
You know,
So
it seemed better to be just doing that menial stuff than
than be responsible for menial stuff, but also have that over kind of that omniscient view of importance and trying to like be responsible for this shit.
Yeah, and
especially when you don't have zero invested interest.
The company I worked for as well, only they had an office side, like a scanning and reprographic side, and they only ever employed temps, so they didn't have to give them, you know, like anything.
This is like
right, and I had people. This was not long after the credit crunch, I guess. So there were people who were coming up from Glasgow to Aberdeen. So that's what, 200 kilometres more.
I don't know. I just have zero idea.
It's 3 hours on the bus. They come up, stay in a fucking hostel for Monday to Friday to earn £6 an hour in this thing, and if they weren't good, if they weren't like doing it right, just had to be like, sorry pal,
ball bags.
See you later.
But that's
I've probably fired about 70 folk, Ken.
Aye.
Yeah, they're heartbroken, and like these guys had fucking degrees, man, like loads of them. I was just like, and I liked them, and but the guy above me was like, nah, don't like him, nah, don't like his attitude, tell him.
So this is the world that we just don't want to be in, man.
No,
it's as simple as that.
I won't go back to it.
I don't ever want to either, in fairness. I'm glad you got out of that and you came to Berlin. What was your first job in Berlin?
I was a pub crawl tour guide.
Oh shit, so you were?
Oofed.
You done that for a while?
A year.
Oh, that's a long time, man.
Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah.
So it was basically a pub crawl going around the shittest bars around Alexanderplatz with groups of, the largest group of folk I took around was 180 people.
180 folk?
Yeah, there was 3 of us taking them round, right? Yeah.
That's nuts. I never
and
really got that big.
Ending in the Matrix Club. I don't know if you know. Do you know the Matrix Club?
I know the Matrix Club. For those of you that don't know the Matrix Club, I mean,
if I die, when I die, if there is a hell, I'm probably going there.
Because you've been a Matrix, or
no. It because I didn't repent or something, and it'll be the fucking Matrix Club that I go to.
Right, so I can't even think of really of it. Can you think of an equivalent in Aberdeen? Espionage?
Yeah, Liquid. None of these places exist
Oh,
anymore,
Liquid.
right?
What was the place? Liquid Rooms?
It basically plays like Black Eyed Peas. You know,
But horrible versions of.
No, just like
I was trying to give some sort of like reconciliation to Black Eyed Peas. I was like, Black Eyed Peas are right. You're like, no, just Black Eyed Peas. They're like pure shite. Remix or not, Chris?
Pitbull.
I don't know. Is that there? I think the name rings a bell.
It's like a 50-year-old guy with a bald head, wears a suit, and shouts a lot.
Right.
Plays a lot of gigs in Miami. It's bad.
It's
Bad times. I'm happy for you that you don't know that. And it's filled with people who I don't like.
It's not our cup of tea.
Nah.
It's the best way to describe it. So you took them there, but then surely, I mean, please tell me that you would take them there, get them in, and then fuck off.
Correct.
Yeah.
But what we did, we had to go in and sign a form saying, here's how many cunts, take them.
Yeah.
But one bonus of the job was, each time when we got there, they gave us €5 worth of drinks vouchers.
Uh-huh.
So me and my pal Max, and Danny, and the people I work with were amazing, by the way.
Right.
We'd save these up, until we had like $50 worth. And then we go in on one night, like finish work there, go in, spend the $50 on shots, and then go out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
within the space of about 15 minutes.
Oh, I was going to ask, right.
That in fucking Jägermeister.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I had
But the kicker with this job was I didn't just have to do the pub crawl. Part of the job, part of the contract was I also had to go to hostels in the morning and pick people up and take them for the company's day tour.
After the pub crawl buzz.
Yeah, well, technically, if I was drinking on the pub crawl, then I would be fired immediately.
Aye?
Yeah, but every bar we went to, like, it would just be like, because we got on really well with the bars. The bars we went to were fucking the worst. We were the only people there, because no one else would go there, because we were taking 120 fucking idiots.
17-year-old, 18-year-old Australians, Irish, English, Americans, whoever the hell.
Yeah. All over the place, like backpackers, young kids who were on like fucking spring break, woo. And the people working in the bar were amazing, but they saw our pain of what we were doing, and they would just like hand us the strongest drinks constantly. And even nights when I was just going in, I'm like, no, I just want
a water.
And they're like, nah, fuck you. Or like hand you a water, but it's actually just a glass of vodka, Things like that.
Okay. So that would have been kind of soul crushing in its own right.
And then I get up in the morning and have to go to hostels with a cheery face at 10 in the morning and pick up like
the people that were on your pub crawl?
No, sometimes, but mostly just regular folks,
okay,
and take them to a tour, just like sunglasses, fucking hood up.
Okay. All right, man. So you done that, and then where are we at now? What was your last job, or did you start kind of freelancing for a while? Did you kind of chill?
Yeah, I was a tour guide. Street art, graffiti, alternative culture, history, kind of tours.
That's always fun though. Those ones are good.
Great, man.
Those are good.
Fucking loved it.
Yeah,
it's basically people. I'm holding people verbally hostage for. Well, it's supposed to be a 3-hour tour. It's probably near 4 most of the time.
With you, or
just like basically telling them about shit that I think's cool, and also trying to shoehorn in all my own opinions, being they valid or not. I don't know.
Unsolicited advice.
Yeah.
You know, and
preachy.
Preachy. There you go. I'm glad we've kind of got that
I'm glad I've got that out of the way.
We've touched on a lot of points today. I love that, but I do want to talk to you about well, 2 things really, and you can tell me really what you would rather talk about. You're a really good illustrator at the moment, man. You're a really good artist in general. I've got some of your art up on my wall.
Biggest fan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Apart from my mum.
There's mum. But you also are in a punk band, the Dysnea Boys.
Dysnea Boys.
And they are something else, man. I've seen you guys a couple of times, and it's just fun all round, man.
Yeah.
But
God, I miss it.
How is it with, like? I mean, we can talk about the art, but we'll give you guys links on where to go with the art and stuff afterwards. But I kind of that being in such a kind of thrashy punk band like the Dysnea Boys, man. What's that like?
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good,
Yeah, oh God.
You must get some buzz off that, man.
Big time. I mean, after, 9 months of...
Yeah. Nothing.
Nothing.
Just nothing. And by the way, I hate to be the bearer of bad news and all that, and let's not get down about it, but it's not coming back for another 9 months, man. I guarantee you.
Oh, no, I'm aware of that.
It's fucking...
I'm fucking in
I think I'm out of... I don't think I'm going to see a theatre again until, like, fucking end of summer. Like, at the very...
When this is all over, it's gonna be the fucking new summer of love, man.
Yeah, man, it's going to be.
Imagine like
fucking it's going to be
festivals starting again, like.
Dude, it's going to be Woodstock, but on the streets.
Getting some fucking weird guy next to you, sweat on you, and not going, I'm gonna die, like.
Yeah, there's a whole other fucking thing of that we don't have time to get into, man. What life is going to be like, post-corona. But what's handshakes are going to be weird. Hugging is going to be almost sexual. Rubbing against someone, standing too close to someone in the supermarket. It's going to feel very strange.
The world does look way filthier than it used to me. Like.
Yeah. But listen, man, punk band.
Yeah.
Like, you play bass in the band?
I do.
What's it like? Just where are you when you're on stage?
Left of the drummer.
No.
Stage left.
Are you kind of digging, looking at the crowd? Are you so like tuned into your bass guitar that you're kind of just in your own world? Is there a mixture of the worlds?
I very rarely look at anyone.
Because it must be some kick to see the reactions. Like, it's just a room of bouncing heads and bodies.
Yeah, it can be. I mean, it's when people are into it. It's so satisfying. And the thing is as well, like, if you writing punk rock, you can do it as simply or as complicated as you want. Now, I don't write the music. Chris, the guitarist, he comes up with the kind of sort of direction. If you imagine it like a cone, like that. He's got his chord progressions and stuff.
Okay.
So he's got the basic bones of the music down, and then we practice twice a week, every week, although we haven't practiced in 9 months.
Wow.
So like he's got it to here, and then through practice and like arguments and talking to each other and arguments, we kind of narrow it down into to what we really want it to be. And then Jason, the singer, who is indescribable.
Yeah, he's an already kind of established punk renegade, no?
Yeah, he sang for Social Unrest. He's been in the punk scene, sort of Northern California, Berlin, for
decades.
Forever.
Yeah. Okay. So Chris writes the songs, and then does Jason put the lyrics to it?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the drummer?
Does the drums? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to be ignorant, but I don't know the name of the drummer.
Tom.
Tom. Okay. Sorry, Tom.
Tom Dysnea.
Yeah. Okay.
Tom Coffins. Yeah.
Okay, man. Okay. So you and him are kind of riffing off each other's, and Chrissy's kind of writing, and then just Jason comes in and just fucking blasts out some mad fucking lyrics.
Yeah. That's basically it. Yeah. I mean, obviously, anyone who plays in a band will tell you, like, if the bass and the drums go together, then I'm looking. If I'm looking at anyone when we're playing, it's Tom.
Okay, so half the battle is bass and drums, and if those are syncing up, you're on a good place.
Yeah. Because that's the rhythm section basically. So if they're tight, then it's gonna go.
Cool, man. I can't wait to see you on.
I can't wait to play. I can't wait to be in a fucking room that's loud. I want to feel something shake me.
Yeah. Totally.
I did go to in summertime. I went to Grismule, the new place they have in Shonavida, and they had an open air, a Corona. They kind of designed that outside space, club space, with the pandemic had started when they started it.
So they had the kind of social distance in mind as they were.
Yeah. So it was good to be something that was Chris Lieben. It was fucking banging. But it was really weird. Everyone's got a face mask on, clubbing with everyone hiding their face, everyone kind of away from each other. You know, one of my favourite things about going out to, and I'm sure it's the same for yourself, like a bar or a club or a gig, is like, you know, you're sat there, there's another group of people sat there, and you just go, hey man, having a good night. And then you get blather and chatting with someone when everyone's got a fucking face mask on, or when you are sat and you're allowed to take it off, you have to be separate in groups of no lark. It was kind of like partying in a prison yard, and it really didn't feel comfortable.
Dude, I
find it hard to lose myself in the music when I was like really aware that the situation, and also like looking, you know, the numbers were super low then, and despite all, I washed my hands, like they had alcohol stations like everywhere. They had club marshals, like, you know, going around, like, if anybody, because, you know, it's a fucking club, so people are getting loose, and if people's masks are, you know, slipping down, they had people just come around going, you know, pull up, and, you know, people with, like, you want to wash your hands? Yeah. Sure. So, you know, they were doing their best, but even now, like, looking back, I don't know how responsible it was of me to go there. Despite the fact that... but
listen, man, it was and still is a huge learning curve, you know. You know, people have got to still feel sane, businesses have still got to function, and especially with the hospitality trade, man, those were the people, and still are the people, making the most sacrifice and making everything so hygienic and keep adhering to social distancing. Like, the most, you go to a supermarket, I don't understand how there's not, like, these corona marshals, as you like to call them, man, or these club marshals in fucking supermarkets.
Yeah, it's a shit show.
Dude, I mean, it's ridiculous. And then the
supermarkets are doing the bare minimum to appear like they're following the rules.
Do you get maybe one person standing outside who'll tell you need a trolley to go in, you know? But within the supermarket, it's nonsense. And, you know, when you kind of look at that, and then you see, like, the gastro industry.
But to be fair, the people who are working in the supermarkets are pulling a shift. Like, they're doing...
Absolutely.
It's not that, it's the management of the supermarket.
No, it's not the supermarket. There should be an external kind of team of people that go in there just to make with yellow vests, making sure everyone's doing their shit, you know. Yeah. But it's been tricky, man. Mistakes probably have been made, but hey, what the fuck, you know? Like, let's try and get out of it for 2021. I'm also looking forward to getting back to, like, the stage. I haven't been on the stage for 9 months, and it's killer. Yeah. And it's going to be like,
need the attention.
Okay.
Need the attention.
Well, I talked about this in one of our podcasts, free plug, on one of the Dim and the Light podcasts. I think it's episode 5. Go check it out. Where I'm just talking about affirmation, you know, and that's missing, like, that kind of, like, immediate laughter, that immediate, hey, that's right, you're doing something good, we like what you're doing. Not necessarily, although it's a huge part of it, hey, we like you, which inflates your ego, of course that's why I do it, but also that, hey, I've written something, is it good? And not doing it in an environment where you do it to camera and it goes on to someone sitting on the sofa flicking through a phone and they watch it for 20 seconds and you don't get any reaction from that. Yeah. That's not what I want, man. That fucking, if I wanted that, I would be doing that.
Especially with comedy, you know, I guess it's that, you know, you're feeding off the energy of the people that are there as well.
All about that, man.
Which drives your performance to be better. And it can change, and it can also, I guess, change your performance by, like, the reactions of people, and then, you know, you might get some like me heckling you, and then you get a chance to shoot them down.
But are you shitting me, man? There's no scale when there's no audience. Have you ever just seen someone on stage just rattling through a set, thinking they're funny, and the whole audience are sitting there doing nothing?
The best example of that is all the American, like, chat show hosts There are good ones, obviously, like Stephen Colbert is fucking is good and stuff, but then I can't even...
Like John Oliver, John Stewart...
John Oliver, yeah,
like,
they're amazing.
They're brilliant,
but then there's the other ones, I can't even remember the fucking
Well, there's
name.
James Corden, the English guy, there's Jimmy Kimmel, there's Craig Ferguson,
watching
Conan
them doing like an audienceless... audienceless like
kind of
show on their own.
Yeah.
They're just like fumbling through. They don't, and they have completely no confidence.
It's
in
so
their
strange.
it's like watching The Big Bang Theory without a laugh track, and you're like, it's not funny.
Yeah.
It's not funny without a wild crowd who've been fucking amped up.
They
are not good.
100% true.
Yeah.
Like it totally, and it's really awkward to see, and it just
cuts the reeds from the chaff though, because you can see like you say, like John Oliver, Stephen Colbert and stuff.
I was so interested,
but they're still they're good.
They're still getting there, you know. But it's just not the same. I loved the first couple of episodes that you saw of these, John Oliver, Jon Stewart. Well, Jon Stewart's not doing it anymore, but anyway, all these Jimmy Kimmels and stuff doing it from their home. Very interesting to see from a performance side of things, like how the fuck is this going to work? And I won't lie, it was awkward the first couple of times, and then they found their groove. But they need to get an audience back, and they need to get an audience back that isn't socially distanced, wearing face masks, you know. SNL have been pretty good at still pumping out their shows with audiences there, even albeit I think the place can fit 400 or 500 people. They've got like 30 people scattered about in that place, and you're just like, alright, I get that you're trying to work it, but it's just genuinely not the same.
Seen shows with Zoom crowds.
Yeah, I've done a couple of those as well, man, and they're a bit. It's just not this. It's just not what you get into it for.
Yeah.
You don't do music. You don't want to be in a band if there's not going to be an audience. You don't really want to just sit in a studio all the time, constantly. If that's the only thing, you want to sit in the studio some of the time. I want to sit behind the camera some of the time. I want to get some of my material, my content, my creative endeavours out there recorded on some film, of course. But the way I want to do that is in front of a live audience, so that I can have their laughter.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than me just... I can't imagine me just someone sitting in front of their sofa, and then sitting on their sofa rather, flicking through Facebook, and then they see 20 seconds of my shite. You know what I mean? And I can't gauge it.
No, I mean, yes, the audience, it's in comedy especially, is part of the show.
Absolutely. It's almost the show, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's almost like the comedian is the part of it that makes it go well.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Okay, man, so we're getting on, and I'd like to see if you have any, this is the part of the show where I like to ask my guest if they have some sort of scientific fact or anything scientific that they've ever found interesting.
Okay. So I had to think about this, and obviously my cup runneth over, but I thought...
Your cup runneth over?
Yeah, so I mean, talk about some interesting scientific facts.
Yeah. I know, there's loads.
But it's not a fact either, it's a theory.
Right, tell me, man, because theories are even more intriguing in that we don't know shit. Lovely.
It's the Fermi paradox.
The Fermi paradox. It's not springing anything to mind right away, man, but please...
So the Fermi paradox is okay, so in the Milky Way, there are about 100 billion stars.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. 20 billion of those are kind of like our sun, so 1/5 of them are kind of like our sun.
Yep.
Kind of stable, you know. They reckon about 1/5 of them, 20% of them, have at least one planet. Now these are all low range estimates as well. These are the bottom scale estimates. Could be actually way more.
Yeah.
So 20% of those 20 billion have planets in the habitable zone, the Goldilocks zone. So where it's not too hot and not too cold, or too radioactive or whatever. So that if only 0.1% of them develop life, that leaves 1 million planets in our galaxy that
could potentially have life.
Have life, all right? And these are only planets that, the galaxy's been around for a long time. These are only planets that still exist. And these are all like super low end estimates, right?
And also in one Milky Way.
Yeah.
Of which there are many.
Hundreds of billions
Totally.
of galaxies containing hundreds of billions of stars.
I love
it. So these numbers are so big that you can't even fucking conceive of them.
Sure.
And I'm not talking about your eye. I'm talking the human brain is just like unable. Right. So if there are 1 million planets in our galaxies that could potentially contain life, where the fuck is everyone?
Where is everyone? Oh, we're being visited by them.
Are we?
Well, aye.
This podcast is taking a weird turn.
No.
The pyramids were built.
You want to know some facts about the pyramids? I'll tell you some facts about the pyramids,
I
man. The Pentagon released, like, last year.
Unidentified flying object.
Yeah. So, look, man, I'm not saying...
okay.
It's clear that there's... what about the thing last year? 2017? That long cigar-shaped thing that came to visit us? That was called, something like... honestly, it was called like CR17. And it just stayed at the edge of our planetary, like, bit and just, like, hovered there. But it actually was speeded up. So it had some sort of kind of fuel-empowered action happening within it. And you're saying that, where are they all? Mate, well, we've been visited many, many times.
I'm not even talking about being visited by aliens. I'm not talking about, like, why aren't they chapping on the door all the time? I'm talking about why is there no evidence when we look out there? Because, and we are very young as a civilization. The galaxy's about 13.5 billion years old.
Yeah.
First 2 billion years, there really couldn't have been life. It was like a radioactive fucking hell. Like, planets and stars were just like, stars were forming, exploding. You couldn't have any. That leaves like 11.5 billion years for civilizations to develop, spread, leave their mark. Like, and there's just zero evidence. Now, there's all kinds of... So we should be able to see it. Like, we as a species, when we get out there and start, like, colonizing Mars, which is in our future, yeah, and get out into the rest of the solar system, we're only, like, a few hundred years from leaving a visible enough mark with structures that we will be noticeable, right? So why aren't we seeing these ancient civilizations that either still exist or remnants of them? And there's so many solutions to the Fermi paradox. That's where it gets interesting.
Yeah, well, I mean,
like there's these things. Wait, right? Because it's not even started yet.
So sure.
There's the idea that there must be a great filter that stop. If we're not seeing it, there's a great filter that stops life from proliferating beyond its home.
What kind of filter are we talking?
Well,
coffee filter?
There's so many filters that it could possibly be.
Right.
So one of the ideas of the great filter that would stop life from expanding technologically, colonizing, is each civilization might get to a certain point and just fucking destroy itself.
Yeah, sure.
Like, we as a civilization were incredibly close to doing...
Yeah, I'd say so.
During the Cold War, and arguably are still equally as close to doing now. It could be so that's a filter that hasn't happened to us yet, so we haven't reached it yet. It could just be super difficult for a complex life to form. So maybe. We're way past that.
Yeah. Which
makes us, like, we could be one of the first. We're early in the game. We could be
caveman style, basically, to other potential...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we could be bacteria. Yeah, bacteria, man.
But
we are the slime on a rock.
But we could also be
slide into the sea and become
we could
a fish.
also be early in the game because the universe has got a long way to go.
Totally, man.
We could be early in the game, but then the scarier thing is you know, the filters that we haven't reached, or the filters that are out with our control. Maybe there are these other civilizations, and if they see something develop, life develop, they just go, nah, not having that, and snuff you out.
Yeah, maybe.
There's a great book, Cixin Liu, it's part of the Trisolaris trilogy, called The Dark Forest, and that's become one of them. The Dark Forest theory is that basically you imagine hunters, they're all hunting each other in a forest, but nobody wants to be seen, because as soon as you're seen, they'll just take you out. So maybe everyone's out there, but they're just fucking keeping quiet, because the sort of general policy is, if there's life out there, it's just too high a risk.
Yeah.
So you just take them out from afar and forget about it. Oh, there's so many, like, honestly, look into it. The Fermi paradox, it will pickle your mind.
Yeah, no, I
love it.
I like
love
it.
it.
I like a good old theory. Just on that note, man, like, I think when it comes to like ancient civilizations existing, we always tend to try and think that they're a lot further away from home than they actually are. And I won't go into it now because I don't have time, but I'll go into it on another podcast. But check out Graham Hancock. He's a great kind of anthropologist who kind of thinks that there's an ancient civilization that we've missed on Earth, and the pyramids have got a lot to do with it.
Okay.
That not aliens per se, but that there was a civilization. There's a gap in the human history that is missing when you genuinely go back and look at it, and he thinks that the pyramids have got something to do with this, considering they were made 8,000 years ago and they are locked into the cardinal north star, and when you calculate the pyramid, it is of all the dimensions and rotations of the earth and all that, and it's very interesting. So
I'll have a look at that.
I'll send you.
Massively skeptical. But
You're a pessimist anyway.
Yeah.
I'm not an optimist or any of that. I just take like what is actually given in front of me and the options that are put in front of me. But I tell you what, man, like there's intense number crunching going on in that one, you know, and
but just by him or by lots of scientists?
By lots of scientists, because it's just number crunching. It's just taking the width and the radius and the point where it's pointing to. It's locked into a particular number of like rotation cycles that happen on the Earth, which is like 1 in every 72 rotations. The Earth wobbles, and it locks into that.
I don't doubt there's like lots of societies even older than the Egyptians, you know, they knew about the way the stars moved and things like that.
Whether they were given extra knowledge or not is just a whole kind of, it's a weird one, man. It's a weird one, man, you know. But equally as plausible as things existing outside the universe as we know it, you know. No one knows. That's the beautiful thing about our beautiful mind and world. Nobody knows shit.
Yeah, I certainly don't.
And I always that's always my get out clause to whenever someone gets too fanatical about something or gets too opinionated about something. I'm always like, nobody knows shit. Yeah. It's always my go-to. It resets me. It's like my sober. It's my sobriety. It's my LSD. Yeah, people. When I'm sober.
It's you know, your brain's kind of chemically wired to really not like not knowing something, or I think I was saying to you before, like, you know, your brain being wrong almost is the response your brain gives you is almost similar to a pain response when you're wrong. So people are like, fucking hate being wrong. But as I said, I'm a pessimist, so I fucking love being wrong, because I'm like, oh, thank fuck that didn't happen, amazing. It's like I get the opposite.
That kick from your pain receptors. Alright, man, we're nearing the end of this. Is there anything you would like to ask me before we close this down, this beast down?
Yeah, so you did say to me, like, you know, come up with a question to ask me.
Sure.
And I totally forgot to until I was leaving the house.
Right.
But I've got a Batman poster in my kitchen. It's a cover from a Batman cover from the 1960s. And Batman's on the deck, like, and I don't know who the villain is, but the villain's standing over and pointing down, and she says, Batman, so immortality or instant death, Batman, choose now. So immortality, i.e. you cannot die, like you can't just opt out at some point. It's like
instant death, get me off this fucking rock.
Yeah.
Get me off it, get me at peace, just get me on it, man. I don't want to be fucking here forever, are you shitting me?
Can you imagine?
Oh my goodness. Dealing with stuff, watching everyone around you die, falling in love, falling out of love, having money, having no money, being a down and out, being a fucking up there. Nah, get me off, stop the ride, I'm done, press the red button, shoot me out the cannon, get me into the cosmos, do it.
Good. Yeah, that's. I think that's probably the only sane answer. Like, I want to live forever.
No, get away from me.
Got another like maybe 40 years in me. Like.
yeah. No, if that. All right, man. Well, you know, I tell you what, we're going to live forever anyway because we've just recorded something in some sort of respect. Maybe someone in 300 years is going to look back and go, those guys talking about ancient civilization, those guys were totally on it. Imagine.
Well, you are. I'm disagreeing with you. It's like that guy Chris was smart.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
So, man, is there any way... We didn't really touch upon your art, which is a shame, but...
you can see art is for the eyes anyway.
There we go. I love it.
So... yeah, the best way to see it is on Instagram, and I go by A Billion Lines.
A Billion Lines.
And I do mostly, artists kind of draw from the reality, and the last 9 months my reality has been in my house playing PlayStation. So I do a lot of sort of gamer art, illustration, fantasy, sci-fi, samurai, line illustrations, and I believe you're going to put a link in the description.
I'm going to put a link.
I think you've had Ben on before, but we run a gallery together along with Jordi, Carmen, Joe and Sylvia on the Randenstrasse called Let It Bleed.
Indeed.
We're a kind of collective. We have about 30 artists from Berlin in there. We've been having to be closed an awful lot this year, and if you want to pick up some local art by some seriously fucking cool artists, and also me, you can
also seriously cool artists.
You can. We've got a website which I guess you're going to put a link to.
I'll put links into Let It Bleed, Dysnea Boys, Instagram, A Billion Lines.
Dysnea Boys. We got 2 albums which are available on vinyl or for digital download. Or Spotify.
Oh God, Spotify! I know. Yeah. It's a nightmare.
And we also have a couple of music videos on YouTube as well.
Well, maybe I could use one of them as the outro. A tune for the outro for this, which is about to start in a couple of like a couple of seconds.
I thirst.
Yeah. All right, I can do that, man. So okay. Listen, guys, if you were watching it on YouTube or listening to it on Spotify or Podbean, head over to buymeacoffee.com. The link will be underneath wherever you're watching it. And there you can buy me a coffee for all this stuff. There's loads of other podcasts to check out, loads of other recipes, photographs of cocktails, sketches. It's a kind of one-stop shop for the Wandering Barman. Otherwise, stick around. I'm going to do a deep dive on the El Presidente.
Delicious.
For those cocktail enthusiasts among you. And in the meantime, enjoy some Dysnea Boys. I'll see you in a minute.
I thirst, I am frozen.
to the deep dive for the geeky among you. I hope you enjoyed the interview. Now I kind of just want to show you the ins and outs of that cocktail and what it's all about, and you know, why I'm doing it, why I do a twist on a lot of cocktails. For this drink, it's called the El Presidente, and comes from Havana. Around the kind of 1915, 1920s. There's a bit of speculation of where it originates from, why it was made in the first place. It was definitely made for a general or a president. We just don't know if it was a president from the 1915 or a president that was a general and a president around the 1920s. It's a wee bit dubious. Nevertheless, it's a fantastic cocktail. And I don't usually go down the rum road with cocktails, so I'm quite excited about showing you this one. Now, the original recipe, right, is basically here in front of us, but I've swapped a couple of things out, so I'm doing like my twist, my version of an El Presidente. It calls for our main ingredient, which is white rum. I always enjoy using white rum, sometimes over aged rum, because aged rum, albeit delicious, can sometimes have a little bit of a sweeter note on the palate. That sounds pure wanky, by the way, but it's the truth. And for me, the white rums are a little cleaner to use when you're mixing. You know, it's a little bit crispier. Then we need some dry vermouth. Vermouth is a good one to use when you're cocktailing, right? Because it's almost like a little bridge. See, when you're making a cocktail and sometimes you're like, this is something missing. What can I use? I can't just use booze and then like orange juice or grapefruit juice or other liqueurs. Well, vermouth is a fortified wine, and what's good about it is it's kind of got a bit of bitterness and a bit of sweetness to it. And there's various degrees of vermouth. There's dry vermouth, there's extra dry vermouth, there's sweet vermouth, and there's this one, rosé vermouth, which I quite like to use a lot, actually. The original recipe calls for dry vermouth, but I'm going to change it up to rosé vermouth. I find that I love the colour of it. It's much easier to use for me. I can kind of sometimes swap it out for a sweet vermouth. Most of the time swap it out for a dry vermouth. The next drink is the elusive Benedictine, right? It's a French liqueur that's made with 27 herbs and spices. It's a very secretive drink, this. Those of you that aren't in the industry or, you're kind of not aware of the world of spirits, it is very secretive. Not a lot of companies will give away their recipes, their secrets. It's nowhere to be found online in books. It's said that there's only 3 people at any given time that know the recipe for Benedictine. And that's also actually quite similar to the masters of distilleries in Scotland when it comes to whiskey. There's only ever 2 or 3 people that are allowed to be the master of the distillery, right? Or there's maybe one, and then there's one other person that knows the recipe. They know the imperfections, the impurities, they have that mouthfeel, the taste. They know the drink inside out. There's maybe 1, 2, or 3 people maximum within any distillery that know the actual recipe. They're not allowed to share. They're not allowed to go on the same plane. They're not allowed to travel on the same piece of equipment in fear that if that crashes or something happens, that the recipe will be lost forever. I mean, you would think someone would just write it down somewhere, keep it on your phone or something like that, but no, it's like a totally secretive thing. So the original recipe for the El Presidente calls for Curaçao or triple sec, which is like an orange liqueur. And I've swapped it out for this because I love using this stuff. The best way to describe it is kind of like It's a kind of cognac liqueur maybe, but it's made with so many different spices like red berries or cinnamon and thyme and orange and coriander. And for me, that's probably the most dominant note that I get from it is the orange. And that's why I think I can swap this out, or that's why I like to swap it out for the triple sec. It's not quite as dominant on the orange flavour, but it's there nonetheless. And then the original recipe again calls for grenadine, which is the kind of sweet element of this cocktail. But I'm going to swap this out for a ginger liqueur instead. I'm keeping the sweetness, but I'm kind of complementing the spiciness of the Benedictina, which, as I said, has these kind of cinnamon and tea notes. And I think ginger and orange and cognac and tea and coriander, all these flavours, they kind of complement each other very, very well. So that's basically my thinking when I'm trying to do a twist on a classic cocktail, which, you know, I don't want to sound like an absolute dick here, but you don't really want to be messing around with too many classics if you don't have a rough idea of what the alcohol actually is and what it does. So how can you just swap something out for something that's completely different, you know? The biggest change here, I would say, within these 4 ingredients, is probably swapping out the grenadine with the liqueur. Grenadine doesn't have any alcohol in it. It's very sweet. It also gives the El Presidente its colour. It's very characteristic colour. So I'm taking away that, you know, which not a lot of people will find all right. But I'm a huge fan of transparent cocktails. So that's why I love to use the white rum, the kind of transparency, rosé tintedness of the vermouth. This Benedictina is also transparent, and the ginger liqueur is transparent. So I'm kind of breaking the boundaries a little bit with the flavour, but also the aesthetics of the drink. So let's get into it, man. I'm just going to put my kind of liqueur drinks to one side and my base drinks to one side. So we're going to take our Havana, and we need 60 mils of our Havana white rum. And then we're going to come behind that with our vermouth, our rosé vermouth. And we only need 20 mils of this. And it's such a kind of, the rosé vermouth has just got this beautiful rosé tint to it, which I think is going to bring a lot to the aesthetics of this drink. And we go behind that with our Benedictina. And we need 20 mils of this. This is also a kind of nice, transparent rosé colour, which complements the rosé vermouth. We come behind this with our sweetness to the drink, 10 mils of our ginger liqueur. That's going to complement the spiciness of the Benedictina. And that's basically it. And then we add our ice. Oh man, it's already looking beautiful. Give that a good smack down. We get our glass and we shake nice and hard. We give it a little taste. Now that is a very subtle, strong drink. Really, really good. I really, really enjoy that. And you see this almost like a rosé, transparent colour that I just really like it. I love transparent drinks in general. I want to come behind this and give it quite a heavy orange zest, peel over the drink to get as many oils as you can. And the reason I'm using orange is because the Benedictine is made with orange peels as part of its 27 different botanicals rather. So I kind of just want to compliment that. I'm not going to put this in there. I don't want to put this peel in the drink. I just want to squeeze it so all the oils come out. All right? Because when we put the peel or the zest or the skin of the orange in the drink, it can often become quite bitter, and you really don't want that.
Excuse me, where can I get myself a drink?